This week on This Too Shall Pass, I don't know anyone right now, unless your childhood was abusive or something very hurtful, that would not love to go back home and have no bills. I know a lot of people that say, oh, we rushed to grow up. This is shit. Like this is heavy. When I became an adult, I understood why adults, when I was a kid, didn't laugh that much. They weren't really jokey. They weren't laughing around. It is heavy as an adult. It is heavy. Welcome to the This Too Shall Pass podcast. Trust me, I know life can be. This is an inclusive space for our stories and lessons to be heard and learned from without judgment, because this too shall pass. Welcome back to the This Too Shall Pass podcast. My name is Ariel. If it's your first time here, welcome. I love you. How you doing? And if you've been here for a while, you know how we start. How have you been? How are you doing? What has changed for you this week? Any goals you've met or any goals you're still trying to meet? If you are watching me, it's because you can see us on YouTube. We'll be here every Tuesday. And if you were just listening, thank you. We stream on all streaming platforms and we love and appreciate your comments. I'm going to start with a comment. Username is from Mother of Seven. That's the username. I really enjoyed your podcast. Hearing your story made me feel better about my life as a single mother of 6 and my issues with men in the past. Thank you. Single mother of 6. Whew, that's one more than me. It's not that far off. It is one more for me. But I do like that she says, and issues I've had with men in the past, because I can 100% agree with that sometimes we hold on to our past and we judge ourselves now, currently in the present for it. I do think sometimes it's hard to know if you've really learned from your past unless you give it another shot. I'm not there yet. I want to get there, but I'm not. So this is a lot of my past, but I feel like my past has made me 100% on who I am today. And I really appreciate when you guys let me know your feedback or how you feel or how you interpreted it in your own point of view. So Mother of 7, if you want a more detailed username, just DM me or email us here on the podcast. But right now, I'm going to leave your username as Mother of 7. I really do appreciate your feedback. And we're going to now jump into her voice, her story, which is a light and airy, laughy appreciation part of every podcast that we do. And I just shout out someone that I think is inspiration or motivational and doing great work or putting out great work into the world. So today, her voice, her story is The Budgetnista. I don't know if you've seen her before on Netflix or on Instagram. Her name is Tiffany Aliche. And I found her on Netflix. I did not find her on Instagram first. It made me go digging for her on Instagram. Once I found her on Netflix, I think I was just up one night trying to make sure I was on the right track with my money, on the right track with what other people are doing. And a lot of finances I didn't know about. I'm still trying to learn about long-term saving and investing in the stock market and things like that. But Tiffany Aliche on Netflix has a show called Get Smart with Your Money. It was very personal and informative. It wasn't the traditional, someone reading a spreadsheet and just saying what they did. She interviewed families from all walks of life, different backgrounds. Some were single parents, some were married, some were divorced, but everyone had the same goal on wanting to have control of their money. All of their money needed to have a place, a purpose, a name, and they were tired of being consumed monthly by their bills. Everyone had a job. It wasn't like you were fighting with someone who didn't have income. Everyone had income, but wasn't seeing the proof of their work, the proof in the pudding, because it all went out towards bills. So she helps everyone on that show break down their budget, move some of their wants off completely, make them recognize their needs, long-term spending, and how to break away from the circling cycle of being consumed by your credit cards. So if you can find her on Instagram, she is The Budgetnista. Her name is Tiffany Aliche, and on Netflix, I promise you, you will not regret this watch. It is called Get Smart with Your Money, and that is a perfect way to lead us into our episode for today, which is about budgeting. How do I do it as a single mom? I know you guys have now recently probably seen the viral videos of me and my kids breaking down real world scenarios based on money, situations, whether that is college or a regular 50, 30, 20 budgeting account, or the maintenance of a car, or what it would require for you to get an apartment. This was something that I did only because me and my kids are very honest and open about money, but I feel like I never put it in a real world scenario. And it was in the middle of summer, and my kids were asking to go everywhere all the time. Didn't matter the day, the time. Let's go to Disney this day, and tomorrow Universal, and next place is a fun spot. Then we're going to go here to have dinner. They were just planning, and I was just the chauffeur. I was the yes mom on the side, just swiping and swiping and swiping away, and they didn't see it. They couldn't feel the stress, and they didn't understand. And I actually love that children are vain enough not to understand, because that leaves us to have an open door or an open segue for conversation. I never want to take their childhood away from them and give them the pressures of adulthood, but I do want to humble them to a certain extent that they appreciate when they start working, that their money was earned and that it took a lot to earn that money, and what they could unfortunately look forward to in adulthood. I think it does make us take a step back. I don't know anyone right now, unless your childhood was abusive or something very hurtful, that would not love to go back home and have no bills and have a plate of dinner every night and a warm bed. If you had a safe childhood, I know a lot of people that say, oh, we rushed to grow up. Like, this is shit. Like, this is heavy. Like, when I became an adult, I understood why adults, when I was a kid, didn't laugh that much. They weren't really jokey. They weren't laughing around. It is heavy as an adult. It is heavy. So that is really what pushed me to do real life scenarios with my kids. I wanted to see how they'd work through it. All of their personalities are different, so their answers were different, and I appreciated that. But I wanted to see, hey, what if you couldn't eat? What would you do? You don't have enough money for that expensive car. How would you handle it? Where are you going to live? How do you find insurance? What is a credit score? These are all things that I felt like I learned last minute or already when I was in the moment, and I didn't have any prior education to guide me towards a smarter choice. So in aspects that I failed or stumbled or struggled in, I'm trying to introduce it to them a little earlier so that we don't have the same setbacks. But for budgeting, when it comes to me with 5 kids, at first, transportation and dinner was enough. They were young. I was young. Their needs and wants were very small, and they didn't have a lot of outside influences, if that makes sense, for them to say, oh, I don't know, Johnny has a PlayStation 5. I want a PlayStation 5. We didn't have a lot of friends in our house. They didn't go a lot of places. They were young, and we just covered the bases. And to be honest, that's all I could really afford. I was barely affording that. So I would say, if you're starting, cover your 4 walls, which is food, transportation, housing, clothing. Like it is the bare basics to get around. We didn't have anything to splurge on sports or fancy Christmases. A lot of the Christmases in the beginning, I did Toys for Tots. It's a program that opens up their registration every year. The one for Orlando does it November 12th, and it's online now, but back in the day, then it was like in person. You had to go in person. You had to bring your ID, what made you qualify, which at the time was our food stamps. I had to have all the birth certificates for my kids. I wrote down a small list of things they want, and my kids, basically a majority of their Christmas was donations from other people. And they had a time for you to circle back and pick up your bags. And I would go back, pick up my bags, go home, wrap them. And that was Christmas for a long time. I would say about almost 4 years, that was Christmas. I would still get them something, but the bulk of it was appreciated, was needed, was mentally helpful to know that they didn't have to wake up, with just one thing or nothing at all. That first year was just Toys for Tots. And like I said, that's an assistance program for low-income families. And I'm pretty sure they're nationwide. It's not just a Orlando, Florida thing. Toys for Tots is nationwide. My kids did a lot of programs that were in the rec centers. Rec centers offer a lot of low-income or, I don't want to say poverty, but low-income programs that can help you when you either come from a single family or the income just isn't high. Because I know some parents there do have a mother and a father in their household, but the income isn't there. They help with a lot of programs such as like dance for your girls or jazzercise. They have workout programs on the weekends for moms. My boys have played basketball, flag football, and tennis at these programs. And I've always loved them. I can't even say that it's any better or worse than the programs we've grown to participate in right now. I love that usually if you get into a city league or a city program, it's very local. Your games are all in one spot. It's not a lot of traveling. They don't ask for you a lot more in expenses, except for like now my girls are in cheer and we have a competition in February in Ohio. I got to find a flight. I got to find a hotel. Where are we going to eat? I got to get transportation. In the beginning, those City Rex programs were a saver to know that, hey, all the competitions are right here. All the practices are right here. It was a set schedule, and they didn't do too much at that time when I didn't have it. I had to really lay a lot of my pride down and my shame. I had to have assistance from programs when the money just wasn't there, meaning some of the after school programs and summer camps also at the City Rec programs gave you discounts if you had low income. I remember there was a time we had food stamps and Medicaid and WIC, and that qualified for my kids to go to summer camp the whole summer for $8 a week. I couldn't find that anywhere. And they still didn't treat them less than. They didn't treat them like they knew they were there on a discount. My kids still got to participate in all the field trips, the swim days, the camp relay race days, and it just helped you with the weekly cost because they knew schools were closed. Your kids go there, Monday through Friday, certain hours during the week. But when the summer comes, there's nowhere to go. And all the summer camps are $150 to $275 a week per child with a 10% discount for siblings. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't lie. I couldn't even fake to do it. I didn't have it. I did have to, with time, reach out to a lot of the friends that I made at Beta. Beta was a program here in East Orlando that helped single mothers that were of the teen age, so teen parents. I got put out of my high school in 11th grade, and I had to do 11th grade at Beta to not fall behind and not graduate on time with my class. So because I went to Beta, I was exposed and met a lot of other girls from different walks of life that I wouldn't have met. I actually got asked to leave Beta as well. Beta was supposed to be it is for teen moms, but it's supposed to be teen moms that even they come from a low income. That's what it was supposed to be used for. I was sent to Beta maliciously as a child. My parents made a lot of money. We lived in a $500,000 home. There was no reason why I couldn't get homeschooled or that seat wasn't given to someone that really needed it. My parents knew the loophole of getting into Beta. A good loophole to automatically get accepted was if you were homeless. And I remember my parents dropped me off. No direction, didn't tell me when they were going to come back, didn't tell me nothing. They packed me a bag and I was dropped off there because I refused to get an abortion for entree. So I was dropped off at Beta. I remember I had to do chores and work for tickets or points, and then you collect your tickets or points, and every weekend they take you to the grocery store, and that's what you would use to buy food or shelter and housing. Just like you were listening to my voice now, and I'm being very honest and transparent. I was very honest and transparent at Beta as well. And when they dug and figured out who my parents were and how much money they made and where I originally went to school, that's when I was asked to leave there as well. I did go to Beta for all of 11th grade though, and I do know it was helpful for me to still graduate on time with my class. At Beta, I met lifelong friends. These are women that I still walk and talk and laugh with to this day. And because we came from different walks of life, they were nicer to me than where I had came from, where no one I'd ever known had food stamps. It was in my family, it was kind of looked down on. I don't want to say they said you were less than, but it was like, ew, nasty. It was like not accepted. It was foreign, and it wasn't a good type of foreign. You being exposed to government assistance and you'd never been on it wasn't a good thing. I had friends who, my sister had a baby young and she did this and went to this program and got this, and then someone helped her, then she got an apartment, then she went here, then you reached out this way. they had a map that I'd never seen. They had people that had walked that life. And not saying that being a teen parent is what you should do or make it be glorified, but it was nice not to feel lost. It was nice not to feel less than. It was nice not to feel, I guess, overlooked. They had a map. I needed the map. They had directions. And I love all of those women still to this day. And all of our kids will be 16 this year. All of us had either a son or a daughter the same year. And I can say I benefited a lot from going to Beta, even though I financially didn't belong to be there. I learned things at Beta I could have never got sitting at home. So that program, the people that worked there, loving, kind, it was a great program. Again, the name of that program was Beta. With time, I grew my income. I went back to school and got further training. One of my jobs paid for me to get nationally certified, which helped me in the billing and coding world to now be able to certify and bill clinically for surgeries or plastic surgery. I was able to get out of the PCP world, like just primary care, pediatrics in office, and I was able to move to hospitals or ambulatory systems, and code for more high dollar items. Like a shot at the pediatrician is a good thing. Kids need it, but it doesn't cost as much as a brain surgery in the hospital. So the more coding you do that you're exposed to that has a higher value, usually those providers or facilities will pay you more because they make more. So me being able to grow with time, my experience and grow my income allowed us to have different things and experience different things. In this year, 2023 is what we're in. This is Erin's first year in All-Star Cheer. Erin has always been in rec programs, which I explained to you was the city programs, $60, $30 for a season, but it was good. She still loved it. She was a young kid. She made good friends, and I know she had fun because she wanted to still stay in the sport. She just wanted to try it in a different way, which is All-Star, which is where we are just now into. We haven't had one damn competition yet, and I am already spread thin and exhausted. And they go 3 days a week, 3 different times. They don't care. Some of these moms picked up a job just to pay for their kids to go to cheer. It is insane. I'm not gonna kill myself over All-Star Cheer. I will do it when my daughters enjoy it, or we may go back to rec, but I'm not gonna let it consume my life. You can tell the people in there who do nothing but cheer or pull their children out of public school just so they can cheer more hours out of the day instead of learning. That won't be me. They do enjoy it, but it's not that important to me. So for me, the first step, I was able to start with budgeting and getting myself on track. I had to get myself out of credit card debt. That was something I really struggled with when I left my marriage and we had finally called it quits. I'm heavily pregnant with Owen at this point. I just didn't have it. And it was easier to throw it on a credit card. The bank said I had $5,000 on this card. Even though I didn't have $5,000, it was a good way to float myself for the 30 days. I know I needed something now, either that was diapers or wipes or, hygiene products for the kids or myself. And I just didn't have it. Not everything was able to be consumed just off food stamps. We still needed soap and deodorant and towels and socks. So there were other things that food stamps just wasn't meeting. And I knew I had a credit card from my marriage, even though I was the only one on it, so it didn't affect him. I knew it was money on the card that I could use, so I used it. Sadly, I used it without a plan to pay it back. And that's what ate me in the end. The debt, the collections, the interest, the long-term use and not paying it back had an avalanche effect. It touched everything. It touched my credit. It touched my collections. It touched people reaching out to me to sue me, because you can get sued by credit cards once it's over a certain amount and they can prove that you have a job. So some of these I had to settle and do payment plans. It pushed me to do payday loans like Amscot. That's what I've used in my area. I don't know what payday loan services you have where you are, but I did Amscot because there was a point that my bank account was overdraft so low they closed my account. And I tried to go somewhere else, and that's when I learned that banks talk to each other, that there's a banking credit score, a banking score number. Once you've done something wrong at one bank, you can't just go across the street and open an account at Wells Fargo. It doesn't work that way. They want you to pay back the last institution that you borrowed from, but I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to pay the credit cards. I didn't have the money to pay the bank that I overdrafted my account on. The new bank wouldn't let me open an account. So that pushed me payday loans. And at that time, I also didn't understand how interest works, how much of from my paycheck they were taking or consuming just because I didn't have a bank account. So I had to start with my credit card debt. I had to get out of payday loans. I had to stop overspending and figure out my wants versus my needs. I needed to stop. I don't think we ever tried to live like the Joneses. It was like an old Black saying when they say you're trying to keep up, you're trying to be somewhere what is it?
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Keeping up with the Joneses, but there's another one like something your britches can't hold. It's something about britches. I don't know what the word was, but I guess you're trying to keep up with an image or a look outside your pay grade. So I had to stay within my means. I now finally have a 401k. Didn't have one of those either. Never understood the interest or positivity of investing long-term and compounding interest and the S&P 500 every 7 years, whatever you deposit, it doubles every 7 years. There was just a lot of things that I had to self-teach and self-learn, but I had to know my why. I didn't want my kids always to eat off food stamps. I didn't want them to always, be the ones left out if their friends went somewhere or went on a really nice field trip. Even though the schools thought it was a discount, I didn't have $50 a person for Haley to go to Islands of Adventure with her class. I didn't have it. And I couldn't lie to her and say, I'll take you on the weekend, because on the weekend, it's like $85 a person. And then now I have to go instead of letting her go with a chaperone and her friends. So I had to make sure that I fixed it. And I had to fix my credit because my car was old. It wasn't raggedy. It was just definitely old. You heard it when it turned on. You smelt it from the exhaust. The paint job was also always kind of okay. It was just silver, but it just didn't look the best, but it still ran. But we were getting close on 300,000 miles. So I knew eventually I would need a new car. And without a good credit score or some sort of savings to fall back on, I wouldn't be able to get there. Some of the resources for managing my finances, YouTube accounts I looked at a lot. Like I said in the beginning, The Budgetnista, Dave Ramsey on Sirius XM. I use in my car. I use in my car now, but he's also on YouTube for you to watch for free. Love his stuff. Love living below your means. I started wanting to fix my credit, like I said, to get a new car. I had reasons why I felt like not getting my finances in control would have hurt us in the end. I stopped doing my payment plans. I started to pay myself, meaning 50, 30, 20. I always left myself a percentage that I could use, even though I barely ever, and even to this day, don't spend a lot of money on myself. I do allot myself a certain amount of money that I can touch if needed. Usually my kids use it. Usually my kids Roblox and 2K and, ooh, I like these bracelets. I don't know why I get so much satisfaction out of just seeing them happy, and I've done nothing but myself but buy me a candle and a bar of soap, but that's another topic. I do leave myself a certain percentage amount of every check that is able to be spent without guilt, and I don't do that prior to knowing how much can go towards bills and savings and long-term use. Teaching my kids about money. We started with chores and Monopoly money. Like I said, I didn't have it to pay them, and I barely have it to pay them now. Like we really do track it long term, especially with Andre. He's 15. He's working right now with my uncle. We're making him save a lot of his money because I know he's going to want a car, and that's not cheap. And insurance for a 16-year-old is outrageous. For Haley, a lot of the other kids, especially Haley and Aaron, just had a birthday. They got a big envelopes with 20s, 30s, 40s, 10s. And I did let them spend some of it, but I also taught them how to save it. We didn't just run wild and spend all of it, because I know if she spends it all today, next month or next week, she's gonna be like, oh, I should have bought those pants, or I like this scrunchie, or they're kids, they're finicky. They know they don't have bills, so they're not thinking long-term. So my job is to teach them how to get some things that you want, but always think forward. And that's, I think that's a beautiful thing about money, saving and watching, how your wants change and what you want later. Having the money available to do that long term by making smart decisions today can be very impactful. If something was broke and I bought it for my kids, I didn't rebuy it, because usually I didn't even have the money to buy it the first time. I'm not going to keep rebuying and rebuying and rebuying. I think it did teach them to be more, not careful with their stuff, but if it's important to you, pick it up off the damn floor. Like, if this water gun or this Game Boy or this PS4 controller is important to you, it shouldn't be in front of the bathroom on the floor. It shouldn't be near the front door where it's going to get smushed in the doorknob. And you shouldn't cry your little heart out to me to replace it when you just couldn't pick it up off the floor and put it on your dresser. So I think it did teach them accountability and to be responsible with their stuff, and also knowing that I wasn't going to just keep rebuying to rebuy. I still don't do that to this day, and that's not something I'll ever go back to doing. I started to teach them that time and money are correlated. I think it's really prevalent right now in today's society. I think there's a lot of good information out there right now about budgeting and time and where your time is being spent. But I think we are programmed at a young age to, go to school, go to college, get good grades, get a good job. And at the job, then you will get money. There are plenty of other ways to create an income for yourself without a college degree, but it will always require your time. And that's what I'm really trying to break down to my kids on these worksheets. A lot of people are like, oh, why don't you just give them $1 million to budget and make them the CEO of Walmart? Because that's not fucking realistic. And not everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone wants to be a boss. I want to cultivate their life or help them cultivate their life alongside with money for what they see for themselves. Just because it's something I want for them, it's not my job to live out my childhood fantasies through my kids. So those that have showed interest in wanting to be a boss or being the head honcho like Haley, I will cultivate her that way. But some people like Erin love a group setting and being a part of a team and working together. So she might do better in group settings, not solo alone at the top. And I want to make sure they know how to save their money, spend their money, and invest their money for whatever works best and makes them happy in their life. I think there's a lot of taboo around money. People think that you shouldn't talk about it. Money, religion, and sex are just like terrible topics to have at any age, in any setting, in any function. And it's just off guards. And I don't think so. I think especially something like money, and probably sex too, it's very common. And I think the more you talk about it, the less secrets you hold about it. It's not so taboo. It's not a hidden secret that no one knows about. And money will drastically affect your life if you're not educated on how it works. It's not to praise money. It's not a god. I'm not just fantasizing about it, but there are smart ways to handle it and smart things you should or should not do with money. Where are we? Oh, when it comes to Andre and Haley, they have become more cautious about what they ask for and how they move forward. I do know that our worksheets have helped them look more long-term when it comes in terms of college or budgeting. They always say, oh, I want a nice house and a nice car and a nice this, but we've never broken down, hey, that nice item right now today, even though you're not age appropriate to get it, that nice item right now, how much does it cost? What does a mortgage look like? What does 30 years of a mortgage look like? How much do you have to prove? How much do you have to make? Do you qualify for it? Do you know the little steps it takes to get there? That's really what the worksheets have helped them with. I've seen a huge change in Andre and Haley. TJ and Erin are beginning to understand how money works and moves and functions as a whole. And I just made it visual and put it in real life scenarios so I didn't bore them. I wanted to make sure the worksheets that thousands of you have grown to love and enjoy and purchase from me, I do want to say thank you and take the time to say I do appreciate it. I never thought this was going to get as big as it did. We actually have a new one coming out just about what is a bank? What is it? And how does it work? And I just wanted to make it very informative that everyone can learn, but dumb it down visually that everyone's able to consume it without being intimidated. I think being intimidated by money or certain terms is why a lot of people either don't learn about it or think it doesn't apply to them, and how money functions and works applies to everyone. And now we're going to jump into Without Judgment. Without Judgment is going to be a segment that you can either write in or give to me, and I am just going to read it, give you my honest feedback without judgment and see if I would do something different or exactly the same, or what we could do moving forward and how I'd handle it. So again, this segment is called Without Judgment. It starts off by saying, "Hi, Ariel. I have custody of my 16-year-old nephew for a few years now. There was a PFA, which stands for Protection from Abuse Against His Abuser, who happens to be a parent of my nephew." So, okay. I wonder if the nephew's parents are her siblings or her husband's or boyfriend's siblings, if she's related to the parents since it's her nephew. The judge recently vacated the PFA, again, which is the protection from abuse, because nothing has happened since the PFA was implemented. Duh. My nephew is afraid and anxious, and I don't know what to do or how to help him. What would you do? Thanks, Anonymous. I love this. I want to let you guys know that I'm not here to out you or give anyone's name or information. So if you ever want to write in, or I'll have the email to the podcast email below. You can write us in your scenarios. It is thearielbpod@gmail.com. If you don't want to put your name, you can write that at the beginning. Don't use my name. Or you can do exactly what she said and put anonymous. I'd love to hear from you. This sounds very similar to how it is for an adult when you get a protection order and injunction. I had an injunction against my ex for 3 years. And when nothing happens, they kind of say that the protection order isn't needed anymore. We're going to drop it. And either to keep it, I had to bring up why I felt like it should be kept or extended. But if I didn't do that within a timely manner, it will be dropped. So it sounds like this PFA is very similar to that. I loved how you put duh, because yeah, once people know that you have a protection order or an injunction against them, usually they do stay away. So hence, that is why nothing more has happened. You said that you have custody of him. So I wonder if your custody gives you full parental rights and you just would no longer have to intervene with his parents, or if his parents still have access to him. I wonder if you have custody to him, do his parents still have to pay you parental support, which is child support, which is something you can still push for? Like if I just said, oh, I'm done being a parent and my parents get custody of my kids, my parents can come after me for custodial support, which is child support that I would pay to my parents to raise my kids. I wonder if his parents can pay you child support. And I only say that because with child support, you could also get time sharing, which is visitation. And then you can ask for supervised visits. So maybe the 16-year-old can still have a relationship with his parents if that's even what he wants, but at least you as the new custodial parent can know that it's being done supervised in good taste, and nothing more physically or mentally abusive is going to happen to him. My nephew is afraid and anxious and does not want to do or how to help him. Yeah, I would reach out to whoever you got the PFA from. I wonder if it was given by like a Department of Children and Families, or if it was a certain floor in the courthouse, wherever you live. I would go back there. Even if it's about to expire, there are always ways that you can extend it or try to get it for a longer amount of time, or adjust it, like I said, and make sure that any contact between him and his previous abusers is supervised. I would really look into that. And again, with you having custodial rights, I would waive that. I would waive that strong and proud and do whatever you can to protect that child. Because it's only 2 more years till he's 18. And a childhood should be safe, and a childhood, should be whole. And I'm happy that your nephew feels safe with you. I'm happy that you guys have a good relationship. It looks like he told you that he's scared and anxious, and it looks like you're involved as an aunt and you are stepping way out of the roles of what an aunt does. And I just want you to know that you are appreciated. You're doing the right thing. You should feel comfort and strength in that. But I would look into whoever you got the PFA from, figure out if there is a way to extend it, and figure out a way, if there's no way to extend it, that his visits with his parents can be supervised. And I would start there. Please email me back and let me know how it goes, and let me know what the courthouse says if you need any more help. Again, this is not legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I'm not here to represent anyone legally. I'm just letting you know how I've handled situations in my life that correlate with this story and advice that I think may help. Now we're going to move into a subsection called It's Above Me. It's Above Me is just a section where I give my hands up, something I don't understand. I don't get it. Maybe you get it. Message me if you know the answer. It's just situations that I don't get. I don't know why it's still around, and I wish it would change. So for this episode, me feeling happy and whole, but everyone else around me thinks I need a man. Or I should date right now, like as in on our lunch break. I should be walking hand in hand with Brandon down the street somewhere because it's what I need. It's what I'm lacking. And it's showing, Ariel. It's showing. I don't get that. I don't get why women cannot be single, make good money, raise their kids, and they're not seen as whole. But if a man does it, he's a bachelor. He's glorified. He's a pimp. He is desirable. But as soon as a woman just closes off the aspect of needing someone else in their space that's not their children, or hell, I've seen boss bitches have good jobs and good money and have a dog in their purse. That is comfort, okay? I would have a dog if I didn't have so many kids. I can't wipe another ass. I can't teach nobody else how to use the bathroom. That's it for me. I just want to know why I'm not seen as whole. Like, this is the happiest I've been in a very long time. I'm finally comfortable in my own skin. My kids finally do not see me crying over things that are unfixable. And we have a good relationship, and we're together often, and we're whole. And now everyone's just like, oh, the only thing missing is a man. The only thing you need is a man. I don't get that. I don't want that for myself right now. And I'm not saying men are bad. I'm just saying right now where I am content in my life. And I know me opening up my home as well as my children to a man would be a big learning curve for all of us. Or maybe I'll just date for fun and not ever bring him around my kids. But what if he like really likes me and he's like, oh, I want to take this to the next step and I'm not there? Like, then I have to hurt his feelings when I knew I shouldn't be out here in these streets anyways. But I'm only out here because all of y'all pushed me out here. So it's like, I don't know. I'm not a lesbian. Let's just clear the air on that. I've had some DMs about if I am a lesbian, if I'm interested in the other side. I can't even say no confidently. I can't even say that I'm not a lesbian confidently because I am a girl's girl. I am quick to say, wow, she's beautiful. Her ass looks nice. Her tits sit up really well. Wow, I wish mine did that. I just don't please women in the bedroom. And it's not because I don't want to. I just never have done it. But I'm not dating on either side of the fence. And I'm happy where I am right now. But if that changes, I will let you know. And if I feel like I want a man or a woman, then I'll let you know. But right now, I am content. And I need you guys to stop judging women's happiness based on if there is someone else in their Valentine's Day photo or not. Because all my Valentine's people are minors, and I'm okay with that. So my name is Ariel. I love you very much. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today on another episode of This Too Shall Pass. You are important. You are loved. You are seen. You are whole. I hope you do something special for yourself today, even if that is just to take a bath, because that is what I'm going to do. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Make sure you follow the show for weekly episodes wherever podcasts are found so you don't miss an episode. I'll see you next week.